Tyler Bossetti promised his followers 30% returns on their money. He ran a company called Boss Lifestyle LLC. He drove a $150,000 Mercedes. He had 1 million Instagram followers, a podcast, and the pitch of a man who had cracked the code to wealth. He just pleaded guilty to a wire fraud and aiding in a false tax filing in federal court for orchestrating a $23 million Ponzi scheme that caused over $11 million in actual investor losses. Today, we're doing what we always do, pulling the actual court documents, breaking down the mechanics of the scam, and answering the question, was Tyler Bossetti legit? Or was he a fake guru? The answer, as it turns out, is not even close. Tyler Bossetti built his brand on the classic fake guru template: flashy lifestyle content on social media, luxury vehicles, the promise that he could teach you, or more importantly, invest for you, in ways that would generate life-changing returns. His company was called Boss Lifestyle LLC. The name alone tells you everything about the marketing strategy. It's not Bossetti Capital Management. It's not BL Investment Partners. It's Boss Lifestyle. Because the product being sold wasn't financial expertise. The product was the fantasy of living like Tyler Bossetti. He had roughly 1 million followers on Instagram. He ran a podcast called All for Nothing, 112 episodes between 2023 and 2024. He had a Substack with over 88,000 subscribers. From the outside, this looked like a legitimate media empire built by a real estate investment expert. He positioned himself as exactly that. The pitch to potential investors was straightforward. Give me your money, I'll invest it in real estate deals, and you'll earn 30% returns. 30%. Let me put that in context. The S&P 500's long-term historical average annual return is roughly 10%. The best hedge funds in the world, run by people with teams of Ivy League quantitative analysts, consider 20% a legendary year. Warren Buffett's lifetime average is around 20%. Tyler Bossetti, a social media influencer with a company called Boss Lifestyle, was promising to beat every professional investor on the planet by a wide margin. Consistently, guaranteed. If that doesn't trigger every alarm in your financial brain, nothing will. So how did the scheme actually work? The DOJ filings from the Southern District of Ohio lay it out clearly. The scheme ran from September 2019 through June 2023, nearly 4 years. Step 1. Bossetti recruited investors through his social media presence and personal network. The marketing was lifestyle-driven. Look at my car, look at my life. You can have this too if you invest with me. The targets were often young, financially unsophisticated followers who trusted him because of his online persona. He also operated through a second entity, Bossetti Enterprises LLC. Step 2. Investors signed promissory notes and wired money to Boss Lifestyle LLC, believing it would be deployed into short-term real estate investments: buy, rehab, refinance, rent or sell. The promissory notes falsely claimed the investments were risk-free and secured by real estate. Step 3. The money was not invested in real estate. According to prosecutors, Bossetti used investor funds for personal expenses, including a $150,000 Mercedes-Benz SUV, a downtown Columbus condominium, and frequent travel. He also put large amounts of investor money into cryptocurrency and lost it. In one transaction alone, June 2022, Bossetti wired $900,000 of investor funds directly to himself. $900,000 in a single wire. That's not an investment. That's theft. Step 4. To maintain the illusion that the investments were working, Bossetti issued fake return statements to investors. He literally fabricated documents showing gains that didn't exist. Step 5. And this is a detail that shows particularly criminal sophistication. Bossetti created 14 false 1099 INT tax forms and sent them to his investors. For those unfamiliar, a 1099 INT is an IRS form that reports interest income. One of these fabricated forms showed $4,500 in interest income that was completely fictitious. By sending investors these fake 1099s, Bossetti did two things. He reinforced the lie that their money was growing, and he created a paper trail that made the fake returns look real enough to survive casual scrutiny. Issuing fraudulent tax documents is a serious federal offense on its own. It shows premeditation, planning, and a willingness to corrupt the tax system to sustain the scam. That's why he was charged not just with wire fraud, but also with aiding in the preparation of a false tax return, a separate count carrying up to 3 years in prison. Ponzi schemes have a mathematical expiration date. The operator needs a constant flow of new money to pay returns to existing investors. When that flow slows, because of market conditions, regulatory scrutiny, or simply running out of new marks, the whole thing collapses. In Bossetti's case, the math tells the story. He took in $23 million from investors. The actual losses were over $11 million. That means roughly $12 million was recycled, paying earlier investors with later investors' money. Classic Ponzi arithmetic. The FBI and IRS criminal investigation caught up. Federal investigators were able to trace the money flows and demonstrate that investor funds were going directly to personal purchases and crypto speculation rather than real estate investments. The fake 1099s, rather than providing cover, actually gave investigators a clear paper trail of fabricated documentation. Here's a telling detail about how this ended. Bossetti wasn't indicted by a grand jury. The government filed a bill of information, which in federal practice typically indicates that the defendant has agreed to cooperate and plead guilty. There was no trial. There was no fight. The evidence was overwhelming enough that his own attorneys advised him that cooperation was his best option. Tyler Bossetti pleaded guilty on June 13, 2025, before Judge Algernon L. Marbley in the Southern District of Ohio. Wire fraud carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. The false tax filing charge adds up to 3 more. He faces a maximum of 23 years in federal prison. His defense attorney's statement said it plainly. Tyler has fully accepted responsibility for his role in the money that investors lost. He is deeply remorseful for the stress and pain that was caused to the investors, and he is committed to working diligently to make sure that restitution is made. Here's the part of these stories that doesn't get enough attention. The people who lost money. $23 million taken from dozens of investors in the United States and abroad. These weren't institutions. These weren't wealthy speculators who could absorb a loss. Based on the marketing strategy, social media-driven, lifestyle-focused, targeting young followers, many of these victims were likely people in their 20s and 30s investing savings. Maybe their first significant money, with someone they trusted because of his online presence. The FBI's victim portal is still active as of this recording, which tells you they believe the full scope of victims may not have come forward yet. In civil court, the lawsuits paint a devastating picture. Over a dozen civil suits have been filed in Franklin County, Ohio. One judgment, $2.26 million with 50% interest. Another, $550,000 with 20% interest. These are people fighting to recover whatever they can from a man who spent their money on a condo, a Mercedes, and bad crypto bets. And here's the particularly cruel element. Because Bossetti sent fake 1099 INT tax forms, some of these victims may have paid taxes on interest income that never existed. They lost their investment and paid the IRS taxes on phantom income. The financial damage potentially exceeds the amount they invested. Getting that money back in a federal fraud case is theoretically possible through restitution orders, but practically difficult. The money has been spent. The Mercedes has depreciated. The crypto has been lost. Fraud victims in Ponzi schemes typically recover pennies on the dollar, if anything. So legit or fake guru? There is no ambiguity here. Tyler Bossetti was, by his own admission in a federal courtroom, running a Ponzi scheme. He pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aiding a false tax return. He fabricated investment returns. He issued fraudulent tax documents. He spent investor money on personal luxury goods and lost large amounts in cryptocurrency. He is a fake guru. Not allegedly, not arguably, by his own guilty plea. And here's what makes this case particularly infuriating. Even after being charged, Bossetti kept posting. His last Substack entry, dated May 8, 2025, after the charges were filed, was titled Life Sentence. His podcast ran for 112 episodes. He was still building an audience while federal prosecutors were building a case. Here's the pattern I want you to burn into your memory, because it shows up in every single one of these cases. The lifestyle is the product, not the investment, not the returns, not the strategy. The car, the clothes, the content. That's what they are selling, and they are selling it with your money. When someone promises returns that beat every professional investor on earth, 30% guaranteed, they are not offering you an investment opportunity. They are telling you they're either the greatest financial mind in human history, or they are lying. Nobody in history has sustained 30% returns. Not Buffett, not Dalio, not Renaissance Technologies, nobody. If someone on Instagram tells you they can do it, they can't. The math doesn't support it. The history doesn't support it. And the federal prison system is about to have one more resident to prove it. Tyler Bossetti is awaiting sentencing. He faces up to 23 years in federal prison. The restitution amounts haven't been determined yet, but the $11 million in confirmed investor losses, and potentially more, will factor heavily into the court's decision. If someone sends you a DM promising guaranteed returns, whether it's real estate, crypto, forex, or anything else, send them this video, because the next Tyler Bossetti is already out there, already posting lifestyle content, already recruiting investors for a can't-miss opportunity. And the only thing that can't miss is the federal indictment that eventually follows. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.